Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be checking out something that I've wanted to check out for the longest time, and that would be a simple VR headset stand. Now, the last time I checked was a while ago, and I did not find any affordable or available headset stands being sold on Amazon or pretty much anywhere. And luckily, Banggood got in touch and asked me if I wanted to review any VR products. I searched up the website, and I happened to find this headset stand. And right before recording this video, I actually checked out Amazon, and it seems like there are rebrands of the exact same headset here. And it feels like this is the original headset from its color scheme and box. It feels like this is the original company, but who knows? One thing for sure is that there's a ton of rebrands of this thing. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So taking a look at the box here, it looks pretty promising, but it's kind of beat up during shipping, but it does claim to be able to hold an HTC Vive, a CV1, as well as the PSVR. So I guess it's pretty compatible. But there's nothing much. The sleeve comes out like that, and the box comes out. It's all nice orange, and opens up from here, and you get a bunch of stuff. So you get a manual that is in English, pretty straightforward, and it shows you how you can mount your headsets on it. It also shows you how to set it up, so I'll take a look at that in just a bit. Seems like some kind of warranty stuff, it's all in Chinese, and some parts. So we get 1, we get 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that seems to be about it for this box. Alright, so let's see, we got the base, so much bubble wrap, we got something, more stuff. So the plastic here, it does feel pretty cheap. It's lightweight. It is to be expected, obviously, at this price point. And it's not too bad, honestly. It doesn't feel too bad, but let's see how it is when it's put together. So that's how you set it up. Pretty straightforward, it seems. So let's see how long that would take. So first we attach this. It actually slides in pretty nicely. Actually, it's pretty satisfying when you click it in. And next up, you want to take the base here. You want to slide that right in there. Then you take this thing and rotate it. Pretty solid. And finally, it seems like this thing will just clip in right in there. And honestly, this actually came in really nicely, and I'm kind of surprised. And everything clicked in a very satisfying way. It honestly felt really satisfying clicking everything in. It just went in without any issues, and everything was perfect during the assembly process. So now the real test is, how is it gonna hold my HTC Vive or whatever I have here? So let's go ahead and grab an HTC Vive with the deluxe audio strap, pop it in there, and see what it looks like. Alright, so I assume according to the pictures, it's supposed to sit in like so. And the strap, let's loosen it up. And hey, that's actually not bad. Now let's see what the cable management is like. So I feel like this is supposed to be easily taken on and off when you want to quickly unravel the cable. So let's see how I'm going to be able to wrap the cable around here. Actually, let me go ahead and set this up and see what it looks like on my desk. I think that will be a better test here. So here's a quick comparison of how I had the headset set up before. Basically, I have the cables raveled up like that, and the headset just sits on top of the cables, and that's it. And pretty much the controls and breakout box are on top of my computer, and that's how I've been using it for the past whatever time. And here's what the headset looks like now with the stand. Now I've got to say, it does look much nicer, and it's actually very nicely displayed. It's pretty nice. But overall, I gotta say, it does make a big difference. Now, one thing about the cable management here, I feel like it's gonna stress out the Vive's cable way too much. Having to wrap up the Vive's cable around this little cylinder probably every day is probably not a good idea. It's gonna cause the cable to stress too much and probably break very soon. If you're wondering how easy it was to wrap up the cable, well, it's actually pretty simple. If you take a look here, this is a quick release, so I can wrap it in or take it out when I want to get started and just pretty much unravel it like so, and just put it in back in there, and I'm ready to go. The cable's already unraveled. But once again, unraveling it and unraveling it every day is probably going to cause the cable too much stress. So I'm probably just going to use my old method of just having it loose around the table and not cause the cable too much stress. But I gotta say, overall, it does look much nicer, and it is a big improvement over the headset just sitting down on the table and collecting dust. Now I can have it very nicely displayed on my desk safely. And yeah, I gotta say, it looks pretty nice. So for the HTC Vive, would I recommend it? I would say yes. Big yes for the HTC Vive. It is much nicer like this. So let's go ahead and check out some other headsets. Alright, up next we have the HP Mixed Reality headset. And this one actually benefits way more than the HTC Vive, since it is very easy to set up, and it does have a very flexible cable. And yeah, something like this actually might be very good for a developer. And this is where you can actually store the PC ports in these grooves right here, which I kind of don't recommend, because you can see how tight it is. It doesn't feel too good. And now that I'm trying to check it out, it actually is causing a ton of stress on this cable, so I'm trying to get it out safely. Maybe don't recommend putting it in there. So if you want to use the cable management, try to avoid the grooves. They might cause some damage to your cable. But overall, for an HP mixed reality headset, it actually looks pretty good. And here's what the Pimax looks like. So it's kind of weird with the Pimax. The cables here are too thin, so they might not grip as well as other headsets, but that's good. At least they're not getting damaged. Another thing you gotta watch out for is when you set this headset up, it's probably gonna slip and fall in like that, which is the strap, because there is no structure to it basically, and you just gotta get it right and pretty much just set it up like I do. And yeah, once again, it looks pretty good, very neat. And let's move on. Then we have the D-Pwn E2. And now we're just going to go ahead and do a quick round of a bunch of different cardboard headsets and all-in-ones. Let's go. Alright, so you guys have taken a look at a bunch of different headsets set up on the stand right here. And I gotta say, it's actually pretty impressive. It's pretty good, it's pretty cheap, and I did see a lot of negative reviews. I haven't got a chance to read them, but the only complaint I probably have is this thing right here. It's not bad, it does work, but once again, it's probably going to stress your cable, so I don't recommend using it too much. But with that being said, the setup process, the build quality, it's actually fairly good and pretty acceptable for the price point. So yeah, that's actually pretty much it for this video. It's a $30 headset stand and it does the job, and it's fairly impressive. It looks nice and it keeps things nice and tidy. The assembly process and the build quality weren't bad at all. They're actually pretty good, and I really enjoyed setting it up and using it. So yeah guys, that's pretty impressive. If you guys are interested, I'll leave links in the description below. And yeah guys, that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe for content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone.